Hello, everyone. This is Zhang Tianyang. Yesterday, we talked about the latest sign that Politburo member Ma Xingrui is in big trouble. He did not show up for the Politburo group study class on a certain day in November, and he also missed the Politburo meeting held on the same day. What really caught everyone's eye is that Li Shi, the standing committee member of the Politburo and head of the Central Discipline Commission, also missed that group study class. Because the study class was led by Xi Jinping himself and is usually held right after the Politburo meeting, it is very likely that Li Shi also skipped the Politburo meeting that day. This is not normal at all. Normally, when the Politburo meets, some members might be away on foreign visits or handling other things. But the head of the Discipline Commission almost always stays in Beijing. So if he is in Beijing and still does not come to the meeting, it looks very strange. People on the internet are already guessing what happened to Li Shi. Some people online put the pieces together and say the strange things happening to Ma Xingrui and Li Shi are probably both connected to the huge crash of the real estate company Vank. We will talk about the details soon. On that same day, in November, at the Politburo meeting, Xi Jinping gave a speech with the title Build a Long-Term System to Clean Up the Internet and Keep the Online World Clean and Full of Positive Energy. Don't be fooled by these nice-sounding words like clean and positive or internet management. This is probably Xi Jinping's order to start a full war against free speech on the internet. In the future, China will probably become a place where nobody dares to say anything, complete silence. Later, we will also talk about some big international news about the United States. One story is that the U.S. might go to war with Venezuela. At the very least, Trump has already given Maduro an ultimatum: leave Venezuela. The other story is that the new U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is still in Miami working on Russia-Ukraine peace talks, and he again said he is hopeful a deal could be reached, although I personally am not that hopeful. If you think these topics are important or interesting, please give a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the little bell. Your support helps more people hear this program. Let's start with the first big topic. In a program a few days ago, we said the main reason Vank is crashing is that the central government sent a message to the Shenzhen city government. Think about handling Vank's debt in a market way. Market way means do whatever the market does, let it go bankrupt if it has to, let it pay back money if it has to. The government will not save it anymore. Just throw it to the market. In the past 2 years, every time Vank was about to die, Shenzhen Metro, the government-owned subway company, gave it money to keep it alive. But now the agreement between Shenzhen Metro and Vank has a very important change. There is a top limit of 30 billion yuan in total help, and every single payment has to be checked and approved one by one. The worst part is that 26 billion has already been used, so Vank can only borrow at most 4 billion more from Shenzhen Metro. But in the next 6 months, Vank has to pay back 28 billion yuan of debt inside China, and another 16 billion due this December. That's 44 billion in total. Vank only has 4 billion left to borrow, but needs to pay 44 billion. Houses are not selling, bonds are coming due, and Shenzhen Metro will not give more life support money. So Vank is basically walking straight toward bankruptcy. Vank has always been kept alive by money from Shenzhen Metro, so when Vank crashes, it will drag down a lot of Shenzhen Metro leaders and the powerful political families behind them. In 2025, this year, on a certain day in a certain month, the party secretary and chairman of Shenzhen Metro, Mr. Xin Jie, was already taken away for investigation. Shenzhen Metro started buying shares in Vank in 2016. By 2017, they kept buying more, and now they own 29.9% of Vank. They are the biggest shareholder. Because they are the biggest owner, Shenzhen Metro has lent Vank more than 100 billion yuan at very low interest over the years to save it from debt crises. So people on the internet use the Vank crash to connect 3 big leaders: Ma Xingrui, Hu Chunhu, and Li Shi. In 2016, when Shenzhen Metro first bought into Vank, Ma Xingrui was the party secretary of Shenzhen City. Such a huge deal could not happen without the city party secretary saying yes, and everyone believes there must have been money and benefits given to him. In 2017, Ma Xingrui became governor of Guangdong province. Now that bank is going bankrupt and Shenzhen Metro lost hundreds of billions of state money, Ma Xingrui cannot escape responsibility. At that time, the Guangdong Party secretary was Hu Chunhe, so Hu Chunhe also has leadership responsibility and will be hurt by this. The current head of the Discipline Commission, Li Shi, was Guangdong Party secretary from 2017 to 2022, the exact years when Shenzhen Metro kept buying more bank shares. So people are asking, did Li Shi suddenly miss the Politburo meeting because he's also being investigated for corruption? Of course, this is just one theory, but we need to keep watching what happens to Li Shi. But I think if Ma Xingrui gets in trouble, it is definitely not only because of bank. It is for sure connected to Xinjiang. Recently, many high officials in Xinjiang have been arrested one after another. The newest one is Chen Weijun, the executive vice chairman of Xinjiang. He has been in that job for more than 5 years, since 2020. Chen Weijun is from Zhejiang and used to work only in Zhejiang. He is part of the new generation of Xi Jinping's Zhejiang army. Sending him to Xinjiang to be number 2 was clearly preparing him for a bigger promotion. If he became Xinjiang party secretary, he would enter the Politburo. Now that he is being investigated, it must be related to Ma Xingrui. Before Ma Xingrui was Shenzhen party secretary, he worked many years in the space and military industry. If he gets arrested, he might reveal corruption in the space and military companies. That could also pull in another Politburo member from the space system, the current Chongqing Party Secretary Yuan Zhijun. In short, Ma Xingrui has worked in many different areas: military, space, Shenzhen, Guangdong, Xinjiang. So if he falls, he will drag down a huge number of officials all over the country. Bank definitely had a lot of secret money deals behind the scenes, and Ma Xingrui must have been part of them. If this can reach all the way up to a standing committee member like Li Shi, who is the guy whose job is to catch corrupt people, that would be really exciting to watch. Let's stop here for the bank and Ma Xingrui part. Now let's go back to the very scary speech Xi Jinping gave at the Politburo meeting in November. Xi Jinping wrote an article in Qiushi magazine under his own name. He said the party must use the knife of self-revolution to cut inward and completely remove every virus that hurts the health of the party. Otherwise, the party will no longer be the party, and the country will no longer be the country. The article pointed to 7 life and death battlefields. In thinking, we must have another revolution deep in the soul and pull out every impure thought by the roots. This means everyone must be 100% loyal to Xi Jinping, just like during the Cultural Revolution, people had to be 100% loyal to Mao. In politics, everyone must be completely loyal, completely pure, completely reliable, no shaking allowed. Anyone who abuses power must be knocked down without mercy. Fight corruption with the spirit of chase the enemy until they are all gone. Never stop. Bring back the iron fist of grab hard and fight hard. If you make a mistake, you will be punished. Punishment will be very strict, so every cadre feels a thorn in his back all the time. In short, the speech was full of killing intent. This time at the Politburo meeting, they again talked about carrying out the 8 regulations and said the anti-corruption campaign must keep going. I think Xi Jinping's so-called anti-corruption will continue all the way until the 21st Party Congress, probably October 2027. For the next 2 years, he will keep very high pressure, so no one dares to challenge him when he wants to stay in power again, and no one dares to ask him to name a successor. Another thing Xi Jinping did. During the group study class in November, he promised to clean up the internet. He said bad things on the internet pollute society and hurt people's interests. And cleaning the internet is important for making China strong online and for national safety. In reality, he is using the excuse of building a strong internet country to control all opinions online. He especially said dare to show the sword, fight hard, and cut the money chains behind bad content. It's almost like he wants to cut the internet itself. This is a carefully planned action to take away everyone's freedom to speak online. In the future, only praise for the Communist Party and Xi Jinping will be allowed. Nothing negative at all. In today's internet age, anyone can start their own channel and become a content creator. That can affect Xi Jinping's plans. Even influencers who do not criticize Xi or the party right now, but have huge followings, Xi is still worried. What if one day they suddenly turn against me? So small and medium creators will have a very hard time making money, especially now when the economy is bad and many people want to become influencers or live stream sellers. On the other hand, the biggest creators can make enough money, but their influence is so large that they are also a danger to the party. So making content in China will become extremely difficult. You can be called in for questioning anytime or even sent to prison. The worse the economy gets and the angrier people become, the less Xi will allow anyone to tell the truth. When he says dare to show the sword, he's really ready to use the most extreme dictatorship methods to silence people online. If you live in mainland China, please be very careful what you say, especially on WeChat and Tencent platforms. If you can climb the wall, use VPN, it is much safer to speak outside China with a hidden identity. That's all for China's political situation today. Now let's talk about some big moves by the United States. First big move. The U.S. might really go to war with Venezuela. According to the latest reports, the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS Ford and its battle group arrived in the Caribbean Sea on a certain day in November 2025. Before that, the U.S. already sent F-35 stealth fighters, MQ-9 Reaper drones, AC-130J gunships, and amphibious ships Puerto Rico and the British Virgin Islands. This is the biggest U.S. military buildup near Venezuela since the Cold War ended. The real goal of the United States is to remove Maduro from power and take control of Venezuela. Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves, 910,000 square kilometers of land, and more than 30 million people. The land is full of jungle and complicated. If the U.S. fought a ground war, it could get stuck in a people's war just like Vietnam. So the U.S. will probably only do precise surgery attacks, bomb important military places from the air, kill or capture Maduro and his top people, or take control of the Orinoco heavy oil belt. The New York Times said a few days ago in November that the Trump team already has 3 plans, and the main goal is to change the government in Venezuela and control its resources. Venezuela used to be a very rich country in South America. After Chavez came to power, he turned it socialist, spent all the rich people's money, and the country became poor with crazy inflation. Chavez got cancer and died. He always believed the U.S. gave him cancer on purpose. Maduro came after him and used a lot of cheating and violence to stay in power. The location of Venezuela is very important because whoever controls, it basically controls the Panama Canal route from the Pacific to the Atlantic. If a pro-U.S. government is in charge, the U.S. can control all of South America. Plus, Venezuela's oil will help the U.S. a lot in future AI and tech races. Of course, Trump says publicly that Maduro is a drug dealer and his whole government is a criminal drug group. Also, Venezuela is a base for China and Russia in South America. Many buildings, energy projects, and communication projects were done with China. The army works with Russia. So the U.S. sees Venezuela as a deadly threat to the Monroe Doctrine, the rule that says America takes care of the Americas and stays out of Europe. A few days ago, Trump posted on X, Twitter, warning all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and people smugglers, do not fly into Venezuelan airspace because it will be closed soon. It sounds like air war could start any moment. Maduro got scared and called Trump begging for pardon for himself and his family. Trump said on the phone, "If I let you go, you leave Venezuela, I will give you a one-way plane ticket." Later, Trump put Maduro on the foreign terrorist leader list. Trump says he will not do a ground invasion, but don't fully believe him. Soldiers use tricks. He said the same thing about Iran before and then bombed anyway. So if Maduro does not leave, war is still very possible. Now the second story in Europe, the Russia-Ukraine war. Yesterday we mentioned a long Wall Street Journal report that said Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Putin's fund manager Dmitriev are treating Russia-Ukraine peace like a business deal. If peace happens, Russia can become rich again and America can work with Russia to dig oil, gas, and minerals in the Arctic. If Ukraine works with America, America will give Ukraine high technology, chips, and AI to become rich fast. Trump's plan is to use these business offers to make both sides stop fighting. He does not care at all about who owns Donbass, Zaporizhia, or Kherson. Marco Rubio said today in Miami to reporters that talks are going smoothly and making big progress. The goal is not only to stop the killing, but to protect Ukraine's sovereignty forever and start a multi-trillion-dollar rebuilding plan. Of course, many of Trump's friends and their companies will make a lot of money from it. Rubio sounds quite hopeful, but I think the land problem is still too big. If that's not solved, a real ceasefire is still very hard. Okay, that's all the topics I wanted to share today. We talked for more than 50 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please tell more friends about our channel. See you next time.